Hi, we're the Conyngham Cracker Ladybots. Welcome to the historic Brainerd Church.
Hi, we're the Conyngham Cracker Ladybots. Today we're here in the beautiful Brainerd Church.
We are here with Mrs. Tobias in the Brainerd Church today.
Well, I am so glad, first of all, that you all are here. Second of all, you're standing in an edifice that was built in 1853 by a group of Presbyterians from the local valley. There is no electricity in the church at all. As you can see, there are 107 candles throughout the church and through the foyer. And that's how we manage having our two services. We only have two services a year. And that's on Thanksgiving Eve and Easter dawn. Both services are at 7 o'clock in the morning. In the late 1840s, there were a group of people here in the valley that were going all the way to Beaver Meadows for church. And to get from Conyngham to Beaver Meadows, they would have to take off on Saturday and spend the night at friends' homes, either halfway or have already gotten there, because you have to understand it was horse and buggy at that time. Anyway, there were a group of 17 here in the valley that decided they wanted to start their own church. So one of the parishioners that was in this group, owned this property and said they could have a portion of the property for the church. So there were pine trees out in front, and they used to have lunches and Sunday services under the pine trees. And then in the early 1850, about that, they started building the church. The church was completed, and their very first service was on Thanksgiving Eve. And you gotta remember, the reason they did it is they had farms that were still operating, so they needed to do all of the farm chores that they had before they even came to church, so they decided to do it in the evening. So that's why we always have our Thanksgiving evening service, to remember those beautiful people who built this church. The church had no minister at the time. So when the minister was coming from Beaver Meadows, coming through Conyngham Pass, and then he would go over to Berwick, he would come here, maybe leave there on Sunday morning, get here maybe Tuesday, and coming down the Conyngham Pass, he used to blow a bugle to let the people in the valley know that he was going to be here. And then during the week, he would go to visit different parishioners and let them know. And he was also there for meals too, because he had no way to cook. He used to sleep on a bed of straw up here behind the altar. So anyway, just a little bit of past history as well. The reason this church is named the Historical Brainerd Church is because of a gentleman by the name of David Brainerd, who came from Connecticut. And he was a missionary to the Indians that were along the river. And he became very, very, very close friends with one particular young Indian, and his name was Tatwana. And Brainerd taught him a little bit of English, otherwise he couldn't converse with these Indian tribes. And he did manage to baptize 14 Indians to become Christians. So it was kind of interesting to let you know that David Brainerd never stepped foot in this church. And outside in the foyer, when you're ready to leave, I'll show you a letter. And it was written in the 1700s. David Brainerd died at the age of 27 of a horrible lung disease that he died. But in 1954, Hurricane Hazel came through the valley. And Hurricane Hazel did a really bad thing here to the church, knocked this whole back wall right down. So there was a group of people in the valley in the early 60s and they decided they were going to do a marvelous job renovating the church. Now, this, like I said, this back wall is all brand new. This altar is a replica of the original one. This pew and this pew are the only two original pews from the original church that Hurricane Hazel did destroy. Also, that coal lamp is from the original church that hangs right here. So every service, we always make sure that those lights are on. We also have a lot of weddings in here. And we have memorial services for someone that has passed away in here as well. Now, when you go out on the side of, this just bothers me to even tell you this, but we had a historian that came through here about 5 years ago, I guess. And he asked Dwayne, our president, to please go in the basement. Now, there are 4 openings that we thought was for air circulation into the basement, and they're only about this wide. But when you go into the basement, they're like this. And that was so if they were being attacked by Indians, and it happened several times. If the church was being attacked, everyone went downstairs for shelter, and those openings left them put their rifle in there to go back and forth. Kind of spooky when you think that you're in a church and all of a sudden you're killing people outside. It's kind of upsetting for me to even tell you that, and that's just a little bit of crazy history. Plus the fact that I can't figure out for the life of me, and I'm going to show you the boards when we go out, how women with those dresses got down those steps carrying their babies. And when you came to church here, you came for your first part of the service was maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. You brought a lunch. You went outside. In the winter time, you stayed inside and had lunch. Then you had services almost all afternoon. How do you find those pews? Pretty comfortable? How would you like to sit in them all day long? And then in the summertime, there might have been Bible studies for the kids or whatever, or play games or something outside. They would have dinner out on the grass. In the wintertime, they stayed in here, and you had a final service until 7 o'clock, and then you were excused to go home. So how would you, I can't handle these pews more than 5 minutes, let alone a whole afternoon, morning, and part of an evening. So think about what these sweet people in this valley went through to pray and be a member of the organization of God. You know, it was just amazing what they went through.